Howdy, beautiful people. Welcome to 321 No Kiddin. Bobby the Awesome here, where we get to visit a little bit. We talk about the quotes or the inspiration from the inspirational calendar that Mom got me for Christmas. And then we do a daily reading out of the Body, Mind, and Spirit book, which we are in the home stretch, guys, of a year of daily shows. And it is coming to an end, I think, later in March when we have done a reading for every day of the year. So we will have them to refer back to in the future, myself included. And yeah, I'm going to miss it. But I also am going to be grateful for the time to devote to my self-care and my business. So it'll be a nice balance. And then when you hear from me, it won't be, every day where every single thing about me, maybe you'll just hear the big stuff. Who knows? I really can't go that far out mentally. But I am starting to feel a little sad that it's coming to an end. So anyway, on that note, let's get started. March 14th from the calendar is success is a series of small wins. Isn't that cool? Isn't that good to notice? And we talk about this in the context of moving mountains and, not worrying about the huge goals that we have as a huge goal, breaking them down. But we have to remember to celebrate the small wins as well. And I heard in a training recently, I loved it. It was like, there's no room for emotions in business. The only emotion should be when you're celebrating a win. Can you imagine if we just live that way? I mean, I'm not recommending we're emotionless, but it's about focusing on the positive. That's essentially what it comes down to. So let's do that. Okay, where are we? Here we go. March 14th. Amelia Earhart says, courage is the price that life exacts for granting peace. Courage is the price that life exacts for granting peace. I really don't know what that means. When we feel angry, lonely, worried, or sad, we can ask ourselves, is there a pattern here? The simple question can help us take a giant step forward in recovery. When we feel these things, most of us feel like victims. We're not used to taking responsibility for our part of our problems. If we find ourselves broke again, ending a romantic relationship again, having the same argument this year we had last year, we may have established a self-destructive pattern. Not because we're stupid, but because we aren't familiar with happiness and stir up what we know best, misery. Looking for patterns in our behavior and accepting responsibility for them takes honesty and courage. But when we put aside our fears and really see where we're going, we've taken a huge step in changing. Happiness may feel downright strange at first, but we can get used to it. Today, help me see the patterns I create and grant me the courage to change. That's a good one. I still don't understand the Amelia Earhart quote, but as far as this getting brave about identifying what's really going on around us, I've heard people recently talk about being addicted to drama and negativity. And that's what this reading reminds me of, that we have the opportunity to not dwell in the negativity and the drama and not dwell in our self-destructive patterns, as the reading says. But first, we have to be aware that we're even having them. I went through this with that whole confidence, crazy working myself up a couple weeks ago, and it didn't serve me. And it really was a growing exercise. It reminded me that I need to be grateful. It reminded me that it's not as bad as I freaking think it is some days. It's really not bad at all. I literally have no complaint. I don't have to answer to really anybody except for myself and my clients. and my team. But I mean, I get to do what I want when I want. I get to pursue the activities I want. I get to travel when I want. I have this really good life. And I get frustrated because there's times that I'll be like that victim or that poor me. Not necessarily to everybody else, but I feel it, and it probably comes out with my crazy emotions, especially when I'm like beating myself up. And those are growth spurts for me. That's the way I choose to acknowledge them. And I think that they will continue to lessen because they definitely are farther and fewer between. And this last round, I really did some exploration about why I was feeling the way I was. Did it have to do with the people I was in communication with? Did it have to do with my perception? And it was a very eye-opening experience. And I was so grateful because people pointed things out to me. And this is something I recommend for everybody. Get people that can be honest with you and tell you the good, the bads, and the uglies. And don't just get them to have them so you can be pissed off when they tell you the good, the bad, the ugly, but get them and have them so that you can see the truth and you can stop being blind to things that maybe you can't see. And there's ways to have these relationships with love and to get the feedback with love and with genuine best interest at heart. So you have to choose your people carefully, but I'm telling you, it's worth choosing your people. Looking for patterns in our behavior and accepting responsibility for them takes honesty and courage. So we have to take note of the patterns. And this is where sometimes journaling could help. I imagine that if I went back and I started listening from every show from one to now, that there's going to be some pretty significant patterns. I would like to think, and until I do this, I won't know this for a fact, that there's been some growth out of those patterns. I think that's the case, but I would have to, be interested in actually doing that exercise someday because I'm very reflective. I'm very analytical, those things. And it would be interesting to try to see, because what I tell you guys is how I feel generally, especially in the heat of the moment. And I don't necessarily recollect all my feelings. So I think that would be a good exercise. But we have to be honest. When we put aside our fears and really see what we're doing, we've taken a huge step in changing. And that's what yesterday's show with Brandy, she talked about this. Like, we have the right to show up. We have the right to move forward, and we have the right to be proud of that. We have the right to celebrate the wins. There's no reason we shouldn't. And we shouldn't, I think, I told you about the tree, right? Did I tell you about the pear and the apple tree, or the pear and the cherry tree? The cherry tree is really close to the river and getting the water and has full access to the sun and rich nutrient soil. And the cherry tree thrives because it has all this good stuff and it produces so much fruit and just does amazing. And not too far away is the pear tree. And the pear tree doesn't have good soil, doesn't have access to water, doesn't get as much sun, and doesn't bear as well of fruit. Well, the cherry tree does not diminish itself because the pear tree is not thriving. The cherry tree thrives and continues to move ahead and produce fruit. And that was a story I heard from James McNeil. And it really makes a lot of sense to me because I don't know why, as human beings, we diminish ourselves. So as you're doing this honesty thing and putting aside the fear, I know the fear sometimes comes from losing things, maybe losing the people around us or the relationships changing, significant other or anyone else for that matter, jobs. We start paying attention to ourselves and taking care of ourselves and taking responsibility for ourselves. You don't want to be in that self-destructive relationship. You don't want to be doing the same shit over and over again. That's what recovery gives us is the need to continue to grow and get better. So consider that and start looking at whatever you need to look at for you to develop and grow. And it's a skill. And that's why I'm saying enlist some help from loving, kind people that might be able to point out some of your opportunity areas in the old lingo of corporate America. So think about that. That is my bossiness for today. I hope that resonates with you and that you can be on that journey of self-awareness. And if you already have started, I would say circle back. And are you being completely honest with yourself? I know I had to do a lot of digging in my last funk, and I'm so grateful to be on the other side of it first, but it kind of recharged my batteries and helped me reset and identify who I am and who I want to be. So sometimes we just need to do that. So take your time, love yourself, be kind, give yourself grace. Those are my boundaries and parameters for doing that. And know that I love you and that I think you're worth it. Keep up the good work. Love you guys.